Hi guys, it is Disposal Counting here for another video, and this video will be all about the AFL trade news and my predictions. So starting off, as everybody knows, Jeremy Cameron is going to go to the Long Cats. Now this is very good for the Cats because firstly they have been relying on Tom Hawkins too much, and this will be a really big headache for opposition teams in the future. Next is Brad Crouch going to St Kilda. Now this is very good news for St Kilda once again. This is mainly because they've been relying too much on Steele to carry their midfield, and they need another second A grade midfielder to help them push into top 4 contention. Next is Joe Daniher to Brisbane Lions. As we all know, Brisbane Lions have been struggling with goal kicking, and Joe Daniher will help them get more shots at goal, not necessarily more goals, because he has been known to be an inaccurate shooter. Then it is Jai Caldwell to Essendon. Now this is very good news for Essendon. It means that they got another young rookie on their list, and this is just former first round draft pick, so that's good for them. Now for the Crows will get Haley. This is also very good for them because it means that they might get a number 2 pick compensation for Crouch, but on top of this, they have a ready-made midfielder in Haley that can burn some of the load from Rory Sloane and Matt Crouch. Next, in Carlton, going to Carlton, is Williams. This should add some pace. They've been talks about him being used in their midfield as well. Their midfield is pretty slow, as Cripps isn't known to be one of the biggest runners. Next up is North Melbourne. North Melbourne getting Aiden Core. Now, this is very good for North Melbourne. Robbie Tarrant, there has been talks of him leaving. I don't think he will, but this should bolster their backline and really add some beef into their backline. Adam Saad is going to Carlton. Unlike Williams, he will be used in the defense, definitely. This should give them some rebounding of Doherty. Yeah, this is a good trade for Carlton. Now, Karl Hardigan, after getting into a fight with one of his teammates early in the preseason, has decided to go join the Hawks. Now, this probably won't make up for both Benton and James Frawley, but it will make up for one of them. The Hawks really need him. Next is another Adelaide player, Rory Atkins, who is going to Gold Coast. Now, Rory Atkins isn't a very well-known player, but he's solid. He might not make the best 22 in Gold Coast week after week, but he will definitely be in contention. Lockie Young is a very unknown player who plays for the Bulldogs. He's going to North Melbourne. Won't impact that much. He's a tall defender. Hardly will impact at all. Just adds to their tall defense stocks. Now, going on from now on, these are my predictions. So I predict Adam Chalor will go to Gold Coast. I know he's adamant about this move, but I reckon he will make the move because number 5 pick, they'll be tempting Collingwood and they need this salary cap space. Also, at the start of the trade period, everybody's very anti-moving, but at the end, things start to loosen up, and I just reckon Adam Chalor will be heading off. I reckon Zac Smith will go to Melbourne, mainly because Melbourne has been very interested in wingers for quite some time, and this can be seen with their addition of Langdon and Tomlinson last year, so I reckon this will happen. Next one is Jordan Clark to Fremantle. Now, Jordan Clark, if I was him, I would be very upset with the minutes I'm playing, but I reckon Fremantle are in desperate need of a player like him, and they will throw something at him. Maybe Connor Blakely and pick number 28, or just pick 10 Geelong if they get like a 3rd round, 4th round pick. I reckon Jordan Clark and a 3rd round or 4th round pick for pick number 10 is a good deal for both sides. Next is Ben Brown. I reckon he'll go to Melbourne. They're the top suitors for him at the moment. They need to bolster their stock to help Sam Wiedemann. I mean, they have Luke Jackson, but he's a ruckman, so and Tom McDonald just doesn't cut it. I reckon Riccio Fantasia will be heading to Adelaide. I know he's been getting a lot of interest from Port Adelaide, but I reckon Adelaide needs him more, and yeah, I just reckon he won't be going to Port Adelaide. Next is Zac Smith. He's requested to trade home. The Fremantle Dockers aren't that interested in him right now, so I reckon the West Coast are the suitors for him, and he will join them. I'm not sure how he will fit into their best 22. He might not, he might. He'll definitely be in contention for their best 22 week in, week out. Just interesting to see how many games he plays. Next is Connor Blakely to GWS. Now, the main reason why I think this is, I reckon there'll be a three-way swap involving GWS, Geelong, and Fremantle. Fremantle will probably lose pick number 28 and Connor Blakely, and Fremantle will gain John Clark. GWS will probably gain some first-round picks and Connor Blakely, while Geelong will gain Jeremy Cameron. Next is Josh Dunkley will be moving to Essendon. I reckon this will happen. As I said earlier, at the start of the trade period, everybody's anti-moving. But I reckon as things go on, they'll loosen up and they will get Josh Dunkley, especially if they ever offer a very nice range of picks for the Western Bulldogs. Next is Luke Dunstan going to the Crows. Now this, I reckon Brad Crouch probably won't get number 2 compensation for Adelaide, and I reckon that'll mean there'll be a trade, and I reckon Luke Dunstan will be involved in this trade, which is why I put him here. He's a great midfielder, not the best, but decent enough, and he hasn't been playing in the Saints for some unknown reason. I reckon he should be in their best 22, but that's just my opinion. I reckon the Crows will benefit enormously if they have him. Now, Sean McKernan has been recently delisted from Essendon, and St Kilda have been eyeing him for good reason. They need another tall forward. Paddy Ryder is injured. He's not going to play for that long, which means they will need Rowan Marshall in the ruck. So then Tim Membry just doesn't cut it as a tall forward. He's more medium. So Sean McKernan should be a nice addition for St Kilda. Next is Alex Witherden will be going to Essendon. I reckon that could be part of the Joe Daniher deal. I mean, I know they want to keep him because Birchall will be retiring soon, but I reckon if I was Essendon, I would demand Witherden. And right now, Brisbane in desperate need of tall forwards. I reckon they'll probably have to give him up to get Daniher. Next is Tom McDonald to Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, I reckon they need another forward, and yeah, this is something that I've just thought of. It's not come from news or anything else. I reckon this would be a great trade for both sides. I've been putting this in here because I just felt like it, but I reckon this is actually a very likely move to happen. So, I mean, Tom McDonald's out of favour in Melbourne, and Western Bulldogs, they probably need another tall forward to put pressure on Josh Bruce. So yeah. Now these ones are the ones I think will be staying at their current club. So Jesse Hogan will be staying at Fremantle next year, I reckon. I reckon they'll prioritize Hogan over Blakely, and I reckon it's a smart move. Dockers probably need a third tall forward to function well. I reckon he belongs in their best 22, and he will play games next season. Next is Brody Maake. With Adam Treloar moving out, they will have enough money to play Brody Maake, and he's been an outstanding performer, and I reckon he'll be good for them. Tom Phillips, I reckon he will also stay. No reason to trade him. Don't need to get rid of that much salary cap space, so yeah, he will stay. And Stefan Martin, I reckon just someone there to help the Big O develop will be very, very good for the club. So there are trade rumors that he will be delisted due to list cuts, but I reckon he can survive. I reckon he will.